My name is Laura Keily. I'm the co-founder and principal of Mavericks Consulting. I started my career as an M&A lawyer in Melbourne and London. I then started a company called Mediation, which is a technology company based in Australia, which grew global to about 50 staff.
Ryan McCrosson, co-founder, Mavericks Consulting. Yeah, so it's really interesting. My experience is one that's fairly uncommon. I started my career as a U.S. federal practice attorney. I worked for a Big Four company, KPMG, as a strategy consultant.
I am also a barrister of the Victorian Bar, and during the inception and growth of Mediation, I was running my trial and appellate practice. So between Ryan and I, we have run 60 to 70 billion US dollars worth of transactions.
And I transformed a lot of government systems. Enterprise transformation of New York State's government when it came to their healthcare delivery, Saudi Arabia, and also advised two presidential administrations. I
received a number of industry awards for innovation, in particular the Australian Lawyer of the Year Award for Changemaker in 2021, and also Innovator of the Year by the Australian Law Awards.
After that, I worked at some very large legal tech companies in terms of their technology delivery and in terms of bringing them from a pre-IPO organization to an IPO NASDAQ-listed organization. What's interesting in what I've seen as a founder, however, is that taking into account the interests of the boards and the investors is paramount. Taking into account the management committee of the company, so usually the C-suite. Sometimes I've been in the C-suite, sometimes I've advised the C-suite. It is critical in terms of actually executing the overall strategy that's approved by the board and approved by the investors, and really that paints the picture of what the company will look like in the future.
I mean, nobody really goes from being a corporate lawyer to the bar, which I did as a litigator, and then certainly nobody, I don't think, ever has gone to be a technology founder. And so that the level of ability to switch between governance and corporate management and then into litigation risk, I think is pretty unusual. He is a strategist and a litigator, so we manage litigation risk together, but also an analyst and a data scientist. So I think in two people, it's probably the equivalent of about 10 ordinary consultants.
Really what's required is not that you just come in and do the analytics and put out a good plan, but that you actually build trust. And the only way to build trust is to execute effectively and make sure that you make good on what that plan is. So it's interesting when you look at other companies, they can build a great plan, and there are a lot of shops out there like that, and there's a lot of companies out there that can execute a plan. But really what we're doing is we're staying with you. Because we're saying, if you're going to invest in us, we're going to invest in you, and you should trust us.
I guess the background as an M&A lawyer as well as a corporate finance lawyer really helped me to be able to identify what kind of funding I needed and then be able to influence the terms on which that funding was given. And as a founder, I learned a lot of lessons about how to build and grow technology companies and how to fundraise. And that's knowledge and expertise that we carry forward now, myself and my business partner, in helping other founders and other firms to be able to achieve their goals.
Yeah, I think when we see shareholder prices hitting marks consistently over time, really people feel proud. And I would say that the reaction is more one of pride than anything else. If we're in a distressed kind of situation, it's more relief. And that does happen, sometimes when we're dealing with distressed entities or entities that are under a certain amount of stress, right? When we're dealing with enterprise or growth-oriented entities, it's more so just pride.
The one thing that they always talked about was how much I stood between them and the bullet. And I think at Mavericks Beach, what we do is we go to that person wherever they are, whatever their situation is, and we stay there until the situation is resolved. They might be in New York, they might be in Florence, they might be in Budapest, it doesn't matter where they are. We will go there and we will make sure that they are okay. And we know what it's like. We've both been founders, we've both raised money, we've both had businesses go well, and I've had a couple of businesses and not all of them go well. But we understand how to manage that risk, and we know what those people need. And what they need is somebody who knows what's going on and who can actually advocate for them and for their position. And so the difference really with us is that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that that person is okay and that their interests are protected. And that's a very unusual thing. You don't often get people from large consulting firms going to you and making sure that you're okay and that all of your interests are considered, the risks are assessed holistically, not just from a business perspective, but from a family perspective and from the perspective of your children and your business partners, to make sure that you come out of this in the best possible position, no matter whether it's a high-risk transaction, a high-risk litigation, or just a really good deal that you need to get done.
Simply speaking, our experience ensures success for clients because we are not going to give up. And we have that cross-section where we can bring that to bear for the clients. And again, it could be an enterprise organization, or it could be a startup or a growth-oriented organization or a distressed organization. With that skill set, we can hone in. Mavericks Beach is different because we're fully engaged. We're two people that are fully engaged in you and your challenges and your problems. We can bring an enterprise to bear. We do have a network. We can bring full teams to bear. But simply speaking, we are there for you.